Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. Yes, guys, this is the show where we talk about, of course, all of the week's comic books worth of news. We talk about our top 5 comics, most anticipated comics, and of course, we take your questions and comments live the best that we can. Guys, we got a pretty good show hopeful for you. We got a cool topic to talk about as well. Of course, I'm Mike Spiderslayer from the YouTube channel Comic Book Corner 2.0. And above me, I have my two co-hosts with me. We have Kat Comic Uno.
Hey, guys.
And, of course, we have Brant Fowler from the YouTube channel Only Good Comics, but also from Last Ember Press as well.
Yep. Hey, what's up, everybody?
That's right. So it's good to have all three of us on this week, which is a good thing. I had a little procedure that I had to take care of last week, so that's why I wasn't able to be on, but it's good to be on this week. And there was not that great of comics to talk about this week. So I guess we're going to start the comics. Then we're going to talk about that topic when it comes to when do you drop a bad comic or, remove it from your pull list. And so we'll take it from there. So I guess let's just get started and just want to welcome everybody that's on the show so far. And hopefully we'll continue to have a larger audience as well. So let's start off with one of the bigger books that came out this week, and that was Justice Society of America. This was the book written by Jeff Johns, and this was a title where we get Helena, right? She was the one that was the huntress in here, and we have our current, I guess, or future JSA members, and you get introduced to them all, and then they wind up getting freaking killed. And then she's going to have to recruit the old JSA to fix everything that has happened. I liked the tail end of this book. The first half of it, though, I was like bored to death by it. And I was hoping not to get a bunch of new JSA members and just stick with the old ones. So I don't know. What'd you guys think about this one?
I liked it, but I also liked the one shot a lot. So okay. If you're a JSA fan, I don't know if you'll love this book because it's such a Batman book. It's not even funny. But as a Batman fan, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked elements of it. I thought it was, a little bit all over the place, and it was kind of hard to keep track of where things were headed, what team we were going to be following in the long run. But I enjoyed it for what it was.
Right.
And I enjoyed that Helena was at the center of it. But again, as a Batman fan and knowing that whole lineage and history and stuff, that kind of helped me enjoy it a little bit more. So some of the other characters I didn't know as well, because I'm not a huge JSA guy. So I would, it's going to be a learning process going forward, like figuring out where this story is actually going to take place,
And if
well, all those
JSA
other people,
book.
they were brand new characters that were introduced. Like,
Are they?
Yeah,
Some of them were.
They were like the relatives of the original JSA
that's true.
members.
Or of some of the villains, yeah.
Right, exactly. So that's what that was.
Except for
which I
Gentleman
think is
Ghost.
better.
Yeah.
And Power Girl, Power Woman's in it too. So Power Girl.
And
it's been such a long time.
Who was the one that killed everybody?
I don't know.
Okay. So no one knows. Okay, so I wasn't the only one that felt lost of who was the killer. Okay.
I think that was on purpose. I think they I hope did that on purpose.
Gotcha.
But I like Huntress a lot in this, and I think the artwork was really good. I'm not saying it's like the best issue one ever, but for a week like this, it's like, oh, this is a more fun read than a lot of the other ones.
I like it. I mean, when you look at everything else that came out, I thought it was actually good. It just it took a while to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, where are we going with this? And then it was like shit hit the fan, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm on board now. So I'm just curious though, like what's going to go on like in the whole future with the JSA.
They showed those images too of like Bruce being a Red Lantern. There's some other stuff there too. I think, we got to see more of the standard JSA. So one thing I liked about this book is that I felt like it had a plan. I feel like with a lot of issue ones these days, it's more like, let's bring this team together. And there's no movement at all. And you're like, I don't even know what this book's going to be about. But this one felt like, oh no, like this felt like plotted for at least 12 issues where they know where they're going with it. And there's a clear vision, which I liked about the premiere.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it will be good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to this book, Planet Hulk World Breaker issue 1.
Oh my god,
Holy
Wow.
cow!
I did not like that one.
I was so disappointed in this book. Yeah.
Oh my god!
I wasn't sure if it was just me or because like I like Planet Hulk, but it's been such a long time since I've read it. So I'm like, oh, maybe like it just wasn't as good. And then I'm like, no, I think it's just we literally did not need a sequel for this book.
I was the same way though. I'm like, am I tired? Am I not in a good mood? Like, what's going on here? And I'm like, this is. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, I think this is just a bad book. I'm like, it's boring. I'm like, Amadeus Cho is in it. Like, why is he in it? He's a grandfather. You got these kids running around being chased by sentinels. Like, it was dumb. And like, Bruce wasn't even in the book except for the very last like panel where he's sitting Indian style or whatever it is. It was just weird. I didn't like it at all. It's just like so not what you need in a first issue of something.
And it was two stories.
Yeah, the Scar story where he's just a little kid. I didn't love that either, and the art wasn't great in that story. Unfortunately, She-Hulk looked a little wonky. I was disappointed by this, and it's like I love Planet Hulk. Like it's one of my favorite stories. I absolutely love that story. But
you were really looking forward to this one.
I really was. I mean, like the last time they tried to revisit that whole concept, it didn't go well. So I was hoping they learned from their lessons. Apparently not.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting. I went on like, they do like reviews and stuff for like Comic Book Roundup. And I was like, oh, like, and I looked up reviews and people were liking it. I was like, maybe it really was me, but I'm glad you guys were on the same page.
It's probably like us where we love Planet Hulk, so they want to love it so much that they gotta they're excited to revisit that world. Because I didn't love the narrative in this book, unfortunately, in the direction that it was going either.
It's just like that, and it kind of sucks too because it's like it's 1,000 years in the future. That tells you something right in itself. Like, why does it need to be 1,000 years in the future? Like, I don't know. So this makes it leads to believe that this story really wasn't needed, right?
Yeah. You guys getting issue 2?
No. It's like I think they did it that way so it wouldn't have any impact on anything else.
Yeah.
Which makes it even less interesting for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm not that bad of a book. It's not worth it. I could find something else to take its place for sure. Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, you still have the Hulk book too, so it's not even like you really don't need to read this. And it's a shame because again, Greg Pak wrote the original Planet Hulk, and it's just like it goes back to, and I especially give this to Marvel when they do their events like this. They always use a big name. They're like, "Oh, Planet Hulk was popular. We did some movie stuff with it. Let's make it again," even though we literally don't have a story to tell. And I think that's a shame. Yeah. And again, maybe they did have a grand plan and just didn't. It wasn't executed here, but
it's kind of like you said though, Kat. Some stories just don't need a sequel. They don't need to be revisited. I think the first like Annihilation event is another good example of that. When they went back to that, it wasn't nearly as good as the original. Sometimes you just need to you just need to let that story be what it is and move on, do something different.
All right, so that's how we feel about Planet Hulk. That one's gonna be left in the dust there. All right, let's talk about a book Brant and myself read. It's Plush issue 1.
Interesting story.
This was very interesting. I'm actually on board for the second issue for this one.
Yeah,
I want to see like where it goes, like what is happening, and Plush Cat is a story about this guy who, it's funny.
This is like the sex doll one, right? Like this was related to that book.
No.
Okay.
No.
Is this in Greater?
It's not that. No.
You're talking about Lovesick. No, it's nothing.
Yeah.
No, not Lovesick. It was from a while, like Plastic.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not.
I didn't read that.
Yeah, it's not like that at all.
So
it's weird. It's about this guy who had this relationship with this woman who is pregnant. He didn't actually get her pregnant, and he's being forced to possibly marry this girl. And we find out that in the book that his future father-in-law is actually the sheriff of the town. How this whole thing happens, like how he's being forced to marry her, is because he's hanging out with his friend. They dress up as like furries or creatures or whatever it is. And his friend's like, dude, why don't you go out with me? Forget all your troubles about your girlfriend and this and that. And he witnesses some kind of cannibalism in the like alleyway or whatever that these guys are doing, like these furries. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And so the freaking sheriff brings him in, and then that's when he's
also very drunk at this point.
Yeah,
so.
he gets like
he gets roofied.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just weird. And
by his friend.
Yes, by his friend, exactly. Which that was weird too.
Yeah,
but we don't know why people were eating each other in the hallway. And then when he's in the jail cell, he sees the same person that was eating the other person in the hall in the alleyway.
And it looks like that one particular one is an actual, like, not a person in a costume. It looks like that one is actually something else. And I think that's where it's going. So
right.
I don't know. It was a weird story. It's like,
it's different.
You know, it's one of the deputies, the sheriff's deputies, that is the one that impregnated his girlfriend that he's being forced to marry.
Yeah.
So it's like this dude's life is just really messed up.
Yeah.
Definitely sounds like a lot happened in issue 1. I did look up. It actually is the same creative team as Plastic Mike.
Okay.
And I think you did read that one. So it's the same creative team that wrote that.
Okay.
So maybe it is related to that.
So it's the same.
I don't think it's probably related.
I don't think it's related.
Like
I think it's a different story. Gotcha. Yeah.
I thought when I first heard this story, I'm like, Plastic and Plush, they both sound very similar. So I was like, oh, I guess they must be in the same world, but I guess it's just the same team talking about kinks.
Yeah. I'll check out issue 2. I'm just curious, like, what the direction of this story will be, right?
Yeah, I'll try out issue 2 and see where it goes from there. Because I wasn't sure, like, if it was a heavier week, I probably wouldn't have picked this up. But it was like, well, I'm going to try this out, you know. And I saw you were going to read it too, so I was like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there wasn't a lot of like new number 1s or, you know, it's just standalone issues. So it's like, why not pick it up, right?
Which is a shame for indie books. I feel like indie titles should definitely try to do more during a 5th Wednesday than they do. Like, I feel like just no comics ever come out from any company. And I'm sure there's a reason why, but it's interesting. When I went to the comic book store last Wednesday, it was raining and I was like a little late. I usually get there, you know, early. And then I was a little later than I usually go. And then I was talking to the manager and I was like, oh, you know, I'm getting my books. And he's like, you're the first one here because of like the 5th Wednesday and it was raining. Literally was the first one at the comic book store. So it really sucks. Like 5th Wednesdays, I feel like people tend to skip going to the comic book store that week.
Yeah, my shop was super slow too. Like I was the first one there, and usually it's packed in those first 10 minutes. And I was there, and someone didn't even come in until like maybe 15 minutes after they opened.
It's crazy. It's like give some initiative too. And I guess maybe the Planet Hulks and the JSAs were supposed to. And I guess that's better than we usually get with those 5th Wednesdays, but it happens so often these 5th Wednesdays. Like I feel like indies in particular, like you said, Brant, you read Plush issue 1 just because there wasn't a lot of books. So when Marvel and DC is not releasing a lot, why not have these smaller companies release some issue 1s?
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. I saw Sean Peters comment, no tolerance for bad comics at $5 a pop. Well, you don't know if it's bad until you read it. So it's an argument.
Exactly. All right, so let's see. Let's move on. We're going to talk about our number 5. My number 5 was actually Strange Academy Finals.
Mine too, actually.
Was it? Yeah. I liked the issue. I thought it was good, but it wasn't as strong as that first issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because we didn't even get anything with Emily in this issue at all. But we wind up getting to see the team come together, the students, and clean up the school and go after Calvin, which was kind of cool. And they come across Gaslamp. What happened at the end though with Gaslamp? What happened to him?
It was one of the students like unleashed his power, and the other was like, "No, you're going to kill us all." So I think the whole place exploded or something
Okay,
as they're like looking on. So we don't
gotcha.
know their fate. Yeah,
So, I mean, I liked it. I still thought it was a really good issue, just not as strong. And I
yeah,
thought they would tap into Emily a little bit more on this one. And I didn't think they would go after Calvin so quickly like that. Like, I didn't see that right away, but I still
yeah.
had fun with it.
Yeah, it's weird because issue one was like all about Emily and some of them like dissenting from the ranks, and that's kind of what I talked about like in my most anticipated last week. Is like I want to see if anybody jumped sides, and they did, but then they just kind of ignored that whole story for this issue, which
Right.
was really weird for an issue two. But I did enjoy them coming together and getting reacquainted and cleaning up and going after Calvin. And just like you said, it was a little quick. So
Hmm.
I was a little surprised by that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, Kat, what was your number 5 then?
Mine's a book that you guys don't read. So Legend of Korra,
Mm.
an anthology. Sorry if you hear some background noise. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just short stories from Korra, and we haven't gotten a Korra book in like 2 years. So I was like, it was just cool to see these characters. Nothing was mind blowing from the stories, but
Right.
it was fun to get.
Nice.
All right, cool. All right, let's talk about probably a book that a lot of us enjoyed. Nightwing, Volume 4, 2022 annual. I like this. I didn't necessarily maybe was in love with the backup stories, but I
Mm.
really finally got the answers to who Heartless was. And I really enjoyed that. And they actually showed a scene that
Yeah.
happened way back in Nightwing issue like 78 when he was like in a fight with this kid.
Yeah.
And it happened to be who Heartless is now, and seeing that he was like this future serial killer and he was raised by this guy who was posing as a butler for his family, just trying to get their will and stuff like that was insane. Like, I really liked it, man. And then you wind up seeing at the end that he puts Blockbuster's heart in his body. um I don't know, I liked it. I love seeing that origin story. And then, like I said, the backup story with Haley, I thought that was kind of cute. And then the third story with John, I was like, whatever. I was like, at that point, I kind of checked out. I was like, I don't need another story to read.
Yeah, the third story they didn't need that at all.
Right.
But the Haley one was cute, and I like the
Supposedly
callback.
there was like controversy about Haley though. Like I don't
Really?
know what the controversy was, but like Twitter was saying there's about the dog. Like people were upset about it. I don't really know
The
what they
dog
were
was
upset about, but
the dog
Did
was
they think
having a
she was?
dream.
Yeah. Did they think she was actually out there fighting crime or something?
I don't
No.
know what they were
It,
upset about, but people were upset about something. I guess just to be upset
it's
about something.
it's like he said. I wonder what's going on in her head, and then you jump to that story, and then you go
Mm.
back to it was pretty clear. Unless they just didn't like a three-legged dog fighting crime. I don't know what the
And I
problem
think that's
was.
their
That's
front,
weird.
right? Like I think people
Yeah.
just love controversy for some reason.
Yeah, that's weird. But I anyway, going back to the main story, I like the callback to the previous to 78. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, as I was reading, I was like, I know I've read this scene, and then I
Yep.
saw in the little captions or in the gutter, it was like, oh, that's where it was from.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have that planted like way back then, and then pay off in this issue. So, and finding out he basically had his own Alfred. So
Yeah.
there's like a lot of similarities between Heartless and Nightwing, which made the story even richer for me. So yeah,
And the
I
kid,
really
it was so dark. Like when he
yeah.
saw, Grayson's parents die in the circus
Hmm.
and he lit up, and it was just like, what is wrong with this kid, man? But
Yeah.
that added that I don't know, that creepy factor in this book. I really liked it. It made that villain come alive, like
Yeah.
right in front of your eyes. And that's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
I do agree with Tevia though. Heartless Origin should have been brought up a long time ago. I think
Yes.
that's something that did take me away from the annual a little bit. It's just like, yeah, it's a fine story, but I'm like, I kind of wish I got this 10 issues ago. I feel like there was a part of me that almost forgot about this character because he really did show up in the beginning of this run. Like it's been a while since we saw this blonde
He
kid. I
he
know
is
they explained it. Hmm?
right. We talked about it. It was like the kindred effect.
Yeah.
He came in as soon as um Tom Taylor took over the book. He's made appearances here and there. You never found out who he was. And as time has gone on, you're kind of like, do I care anymore? But the difference, at least between this one and Nick Spencer's run on Spider-Man, is that the result at least was good. I mean, at least you got a good story out of it. Where
I mean, I think it was better than Harry.
Nothing.
I think this is at least a character they could build upon, right? Like, it's like, okay, we can see where this is going. I won't say I loved it as much as you did, but I thought it was a good annual. Like, I think annuals are so hard. And even the John story, like, fine, it wasn't, didn't blow my socks away, but at least there was like some comparison of like, how would Nightwing do something and how would Batman do it? And like that, they're different because of that. And obviously the middle stories, you get to see the romance, and then the first story, you actually get to see plot progression. So I'm like, the pacing in the book was actually pretty good because it really does showcase different angles of the Nightwing series that, again, maybe people are reading it just because they love Batgirl. People are reading it because they want to see where the plot goes. Or people are reading it because they're a Tom Taylor fan, which is more towards the third story. If you're a Tom Taylor fan, you might like the John story or his series with John. So I was like, all right, like for an annual, I think they did a good job at, trying to keep us entertained.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see the Heartless resolution for a long time. So that's kind of what pulled me into it. To your point about the John story, that last line where he was like, I learned it from Batman, and it was basically learning exactly what not to do. I thought that was really poetic. I did like that a lot.
So. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Avengers December Alpha, issue 1.
I'm surprised. I'm not surprised you guys read it, but
I've been reading Avengers Forever, which also ties into this. I've not been reading the main Avengers series, but I have enjoyed Avengers Forever, so I definitely wanted to try this. But yeah, it was a story. What you think? You didn't like it?
I was just lost because I haven't read anything, and I just wanted to see, and I was just like, wow, there's just like way too many characters. They're all fighting each other. I'm like, the art was really nice to look at. There were some good, battle scenes, but at the end of the day, I just fell off of it because I haven't read the entire thing. So it's hard for me to really keep up with everybody.
So Avengers Forever, it's basically been these Deathlocks from the future going back in time and gathering all these different Avengers through multiverse. And so they've got like an army of Captain Marvels, an army of, they found the best Tony Stark in existence. They found, who's actually an Ant-Man. They're really pushing Robbie Reyes as the ultimate Ghost Rider. They call him the All Rider. And all that kind of stuff. So that came into the end of this issue. So that story has been interesting building that up. But then this focused very heavily on the Avengers side of it, which I have not been reading. I haven't enjoyed when I have read it. So yeah, it was kind of, I could definitely see how you're lost if you haven't read either one of those.
Yeah.
And even not reading Avengers, you're like, okay, well, why are they at war now? They're supposed to be on the same side, and why are there a multitude of Mephistos now and all that stuff. It was a weird build up to the story, and it's like, now that it's combined with the Avengers title, I don't know if I'm as interested as I was just reading Avengers.
Using like Avengers, what, like 63 or something like that.
Been a long time.
It's like I don't know, man. It's just weird.
When's it ending officially? Because it's supposed to be ending. Like, this is the last chapter.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when it's ending, but I know this is continuing on until the new year for sure.
Wow.
I want a new writer so bad on Avengers. Yeah. I'm so curious who's going to take it over once it's done.
Yeah.
I guess that means that we probably don't. It's probably going until March if we don't know, because I kind of remembered, we haven't had an announcement of Avengers issue 1. So unless they're taking the route of DC and just kind of making them take a break a little bit, which I also don't mind. I mean, it sucks not to have an Avengers book, but also like haven't read an Avengers book in like a decade, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up and see Let's see if it tells in this article.
I think
know
the
it's
last Avengers book I really loved was like Secret Avengers.
yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So just to give you a hint, as far as I can tell, like Avengers Forever 11 just came out, and this is continuing at least through issue 15 of that.
Oh wow,
So
okay. So at least another 4 months.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So maybe we'll find out like around April or like springtime they'll have a new Avengers.
You'll probably have a solicitation of it at least, you know.
Well, I think they're up to the February solicits right now, so I think the next solicit is gonna be March.
Yeah. That said, I think Omega comes out in March, so yeah, it'll be April.
Okay.
The new.
So April, maybe we'll find out.
At least we think. At least we
Yeah,
think.
at least we think.
Yeah, they don't take a break.
Yeah. All right. So that was that book. All right. So let's talk about number 4. Brent, what was your number 4?
Mine was the Batgirls annual.
Mine too, Brent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
we're in agreement this week, the three of us, in different ways. But yeah, I thought this was a fun story, and I think it was actually stronger for me than the main series has been, because it
has
felt
a clear
like
vision.
It had a clear vision. They felt a little bit more aged up, aside from the ginger ale. But they were being left to live on their own without parental guidance or whatever. So it was like, okay,
who knew they needed it, but
right, exactly. I agree. And I think Stephanie can drink something a little harder than ginger ale if she wants to, but
at least some soda. I mean,
yeah.
some Coca-Cola.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I thought this was a little bit more, in their lane, and seeing them both, like, they actually switched bodies, Mike. So they were, for some reason, they picked up a magic coin and they switched bodies.
Freaky
so Cass
Friday.
and Stephanie, yeah, exactly. But it was fun because, like, Stephanie had to go with Cass's mom, and then Cass is kidnapped by Sportsmaster by the end of this. So it definitely that role reversal and dealing with each other's parents and main villains, and that became interesting, and seeing them on their own without Barbara really being in their ears too much. I thought it was a fun story. So
yeah, it felt like a direction, so that was good, and I feel like that it was more character driven. I will say it was long. Like
it was long.
I kind of wish it wasn't an annual. That way, if this was just, it would have been tighter. But yeah, no, it's much better than what we've been getting. But it's also not like a great book. I won't say, Mike, oh my God, you're not reading Batgirls. That's crazy. But it's like, all right, it's nice for us who has been sticking with Batgirls. That is now a decent book.
Yeah.
Out of it. That's
cool.
Just so you guys want to let you know that we will get to our main topic once we get done talking about the comics. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay. And then we did get this comment. Did you guys hear that Peter David is in the hospital again?
Yeah.
I didn't hear the again part, but sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Hopefully he gets better, man. That would be a shame if we lose another one this year. Golly, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that he wrote stuff like pretty recently too. A lot of the people we've lost, had been retired for a while. So it's kind of crazy that he's been in he's been doing a lot of Marvel comics. He did a lot of those like kind of nostalgia books, Maestro and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. My number 4 is, what was it? Rogue Sun. Issue 8. I think that was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this issue. I thought this issue was good. It kind of gets things back on track with the main story, with Dylan kind of going back to like trying to go back to regular life, and we actually get to see his family members actually trying to help him become a better superhero. They give him like a car because he can't fly from his house to school every day. We get reintroduced to that character. What is his name? Is it Suave or is it Suave? Like what is his name?
Oh man,
I just read it as Suave, but it could be Suave.
Yeah,
does it have a tilde over it?
I didn't see one. I don't remember seeing one.
I think if it doesn't have a tilde, then it's just Suave. But if it has a little tilde over the E, then Suave.
Suave.
Okay. So I thought it was cool. But we get to see Suave like recruit one of his little cronies to help him with a job. And it was he was a father of a boy, and his dad got severely injured. And
More legacy.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So it looks like there's going to be like a new enemy for
Dylan
Dylan
birth of
to
a
fight
villain.
there. Yeah. So, and there was this particular sword left at the end as well, which I think the villain might have or whatnot. So I don't know, man. I thought this was a really solid issue. It was good to see it kind of get back on track again and introduce a new story arc, because this was what it was.
Yeah, I thought it was a good point A to point B. There was a lot of movement, like you said, in just a lot of different areas. You had the villain, but then also him trying to be a better hero, and the school stuff as well. So pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I agree for all those reasons. It was a solid story. Sorry, I just saw a comment about a wrestler that had a heart attack too, so I was looking that up.
Oh God,
Yeah,
too much.
Yeah.
All
much
right.
going on there.
And then let's see, we talked about so our number 4, that was my number 4. Rogue Sun was next on the list. And then we talked about Strange Academy. So that moves us to number 3. So Kat, what was your number 3?
Rogue Sun, we already talked about it.
What about you, Brett?
Actually, that was my number 3 too. I had to check.
Maybe me and Brant, man. I'm excited to see what 1 and 2 will be.
Well, my number 3 was Plush. So we're just moving right along. So all right,
But there are 2 books that we haven't talked about next. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one was Strange issue 8. Oh my gosh, that was so boring.
Yeah, not the best issue of this series. Yeah,
but you got at least in the last couple of pages, at least who the leader of the Blasphemy gang was, and you kind of got that a little bit of an origin tale, but that was just rough origin. It was just a lot of nothing. I'm not sure if I'm invested in Wand, right? Is that
right?
Yeah. It's like a wannabe Shield, but in the magic world.
Yeah, it was the magic division of Shield. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, come on, man. That's just a stretch for me. I wasn't into that whole ordeal. For me, what makes that book, honestly, is Clea. I read that book for Clea. I think she's
very
great.
little of her in this issue. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely right. So
Wand was very retrofitted into the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's make this thing important. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a filler issue, really, more than anything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All
right. So we talked about that. Let's talk about. I didn't read it. It's Superman kal-el.
You don't have to.
No, you do not.
I bought it. I have the Spawn Superman cover.
Oh,
I
nice.
think I got that.
Just look at the cover.
Yeah. It was that bad.
I don't want to say it was bad. I just don't. It's just not necessary. It was boring. He's been back for how many months now? And it's just like, let me help out Jimmy. Let me hang out with Lois. And I'm like, the only one I liked was the first one. And I don't think I didn't love it. There's just parts I liked. Like him just is Batman making eggs for omelets for Superman. I'm like, oh, that was cute. I literally thought Tom Taylor wrote it, but Mark Waid wrote it.
Yeah, because he had that was the best part of the whole issue for me. He had Superman convinced that he studied at I don't remember, like some fancy French cooking school or something in his journeys. And he was like, "How'd you going?" So he made him eggs. That was the highlight of the whole book, Mike.
Making eggs.
There was a time in comics where you never saw superheroes drink or eat.
Yeah, I know.
You see it so often now. It's so insane, right?
Yeah.
Look, I like Slice of Life next to anybody else, but yeah, that I can't believe that was the highlight. I thought at least the other 2 stories would have I don't know, some meat, but
no,
I guess
and the art wasn't great in that one. I didn't like that one.
The Jimmy one?
Yeah, I think it was the Jimmy one. I didn't like the art.
I didn't know what I was expecting for this, honestly.
I flipped through that book and I saw that artwork in the middle of the book. I'm like,
that's the Jimmy one.
Yeah, that was rough right there. I was like, that is horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, I think it just came too late. Like Superman's been back for such a long time, and I really thought like the world would have more of an impression of him being back. I feel like that's been kind of the worst part of, like, why did he leave in the first place if we're not going to have a story about him coming back?
Not only that, but if you go by certain books, it's like, okay, he's already been back, got taken during Dark Crisis, and come back. It's like, why do we care? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get all new Superman stuff very soon. So
That's
just
true.
hang on tight and keep your fingers crossed. All right. Let's move on to number 2. Brant, what was your second best book this week?
it would be JSA, which we already talked about.
All right.
That
Mine was
is
go
ahead.
Nightwing. So we're gonna. No, I was gonna say. I think we're gonna switch. Yeah.
Was
That's the only reason I mentioned it.
Mine was JSA also.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think. Okay. Let's see how this works out. But I was gonna say, I think we're both reversed then.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to X-Terminators issue 3. For some reason, I must have overlooked this at my shop. I didn't buy it, but I did read it digitally. This book was weird, man. It just went off the rails, right? I mean,
but there's a part of me that likes that, like boom booms. Boom, boom,
boom.
One of those, like, this is like one of those guilty pleasure books. Like, it's one of those
It's
movies.
got that huge mature warning.
Yeah, it needs it.
It's like one of those movies that you don't want people to know that you like.
Exactly
right. But I like this book, and it's just
a fun book.
Yeah. And I didn't expect Boom Boom to, flash the boobs. So should I say that? I mean, right?
I mean, the book said it.
Yeah, boom.
If anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be Boom Boom. I will say this issue was weaker than the last two, but that doesn't mean it wasn't fun. Like, I had a good time with it still.
Right.
I think they kind of went too far. Like, they had such a lengthy conversation about asses in the book. Right?
Specifically Dazzlers, yes.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, have you been working out? And she's like, quite, yes, I have been working out. And, and it's like, they said working out really helps your ass.
Weight training does it.
Yeah. It was just like, okay, I get it. Right.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But I do like where it's going. Now it goes to the whole collector situation,
Yeah,
so,
that was interesting.
Yeah, I like that. But definitely interesting. But we do have a super chat here. It says, I'm living for the Disney covers in 2023. It'll break my heart if I can't get them all. Well,
I didn't even know there were any. That's cool.
I think I heard something about it. I haven't seen them actually, though.
I know. See, I don't know about Disney covers either. I think I thought there was one that I saw. I could be wrong now. I'm trying to remember where I saw it from for what comic. I can't.
Oh yeah, the Avengers, Mickey Mouse, and all those are. Gonna be
I think
Avengers.
that was it. Yeah.
Here, I'll try to screen
That's fun.
share. Yeah, I did see this one. I forgot. When I was going through DCBS. Did they change where the share screen is? Present. I keep forgetting they changed the name of it. Okay. There we go. There's the Avengers
that's the one I saw.
Yeah. I saw this one, and then there was one other. I think that's the only one on this article. But
that's cool. I'd get some of those.
Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man is doing some. Let's see. Is there another image? Yeah, there's Fantastic
that one's
Four.
cool. The Fantastic Four one.
Yeah, I saw this one too. I hadn't seen that one. So the Incredible
When
Hulk.
do all these come out?
It looks like January, February, and March. So I guess first quarter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. When I was doing my DCBS order, all the Marvel covers weren't up yet, but some of these were.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay, cool. And thank you, Comic Toby, for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And let's see. We have X-Terminators to talk about. So we go to our number 1, and Brand's number 1 is Nightwing.
Yes.
And mine was Nightwing.
And Cass is JSA.
And mine GSA. So there you go.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, there wasn't that many comic books,
No.
right? I mean, they all kind of fall in the same area there. So
Unlike tomorrow, where there are so many books.
Tomorrow there's so
Oh.
many. Why
Oh
couldn't
my
they
goodness.
break it
I
apart?
have
I'm gonna be reading so much tomorrow.
I think I'm getting 17 though.
If I wasn't
That's not bad.
making cuts, there was like I think like 30. And I was like, no,
Wow.
I can't get that many books. I can't, so I'm not.
Yeah. I have
I wanna see
17
how
that
many
I
you're getting.
know that I'm
You're definitely
reading.
getting.
That's not
I'm
including books for collecting purposes.
right. I think I cut it down. The last I looked, because I keep cutting, I think I was at like 20 to 23. I was like, no,
I'm on
that's still too
14.
much. Yeah, so
That's a
it's
lot
a
for
big
you.
week.
Yeah, no, that's a lot for me. So 20
I just
something. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I was looking. I was like, okay, books I'm behind on. Maybe I wait on. Like I'm way behind on the TMNT stuff right now. So I'm like, okay, maybe I wait on those two books because they're both coming out tomorrow. And so it's like, yeah, certain ones I'm just gonna wait on. But yeah, it's a big week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the time now where we get into our main topic, which is good. We got over 40 viewers. So hopefully we'll get more. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Appreciate it. And let's see here. So when do you drop get rid of a comic from your pull list, right? When do you drop a comic from your pull list is the actual wording.
I think there should be two parts of this question, because there should be the part of when do you know in issue 1 you should drop, or when do you drop a book that's been on your pull list for a while?
Yeah. And I think everybody definitely has their own way, I guess. I mean, a lot of people can sit there and say, well, I'm going to give it a story arc, because sometimes one issue is not enough. Some people are like, well, that first issue didn't hook me, kind of like how Planet Hulk didn't hook us so at all whatsoever. So it's like, I'm dropping.
There wasn't one element to say like, oh, like I really want to pick this up, because usually sometimes it'll be like a little thing, like an event. Let's say, I'm trying to think of an event that I gave a shot and I like kind of Dark Crisis, I think is actually a good example where I was like, okay, I don't love this, but it's giving me enough where I'll get like the next issue. And then I kept going. I'm like, I guess I'm almost done with it. So I guess I'll read it. Not saying Dark Crisis is horrible, but it's not like it's my favorite thing in the world to read. But yeah, in issue 1, honestly, with any book, I'm just like, if I feel like it's a struggle to read, I'm going to cut it off unless it's a character I really, really like. But even like, let's say Spider-Man, we all love Spider-Man here. I obviously won't drop Amazing Spider-Man, but I'm going to drop like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man or like the 10th Spider-Man book. I don't need that on my full list.
Yeah. I've told you guys, I dropped Amazing Spider-Man for a period of time too, and they're in the Straczynski years.
Which was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And, it's like, as a, such a big fan of Spider-Man, I kind of regret that, but, it is what it is. Sometimes you just fall out of love with this, with storytelling so much that you just make a drastic decision.
We got a question here real quick. It says, do you pay a fee to activate a pull box? Actually, at my shop, no, they actually give me a discount on my comics for having a pull box. So hopefully someone doesn't charge you for that.
Yeah, typically it's just you set it up, and certain shops, in my experience, certain ones, the longer you're a customer, you might get an even better discount or other bonuses as you go on. But usually it's pretty straightforward. You just get that standard discount. So,
yep. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to comics for me, I will never drop. It's like there's certain comics I'll never drop. Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man is definitely one of them. It doesn't matter how shitty or sucky that book is. Batman is another one. Like the main Batman title is another one. X-Men, I tend to always read like the main X-Men title. The other ones, I'm like Kat when it comes to Spider-Man. It's like, I'll always read Amazing Spider-Man, but I could drop that. It's the X-Men book. It's like I feel like I need to read X-Men so I have an idea of what's going on.
I used to feel that way.
Right.
I feel like this
Yeah.
X-Men has really destroyed me in that regard. At least I'm reading X-Terminators and having fun. But this one, I'm like, I don't read Marauders. Like, that's the first time I've ever not been reading a Kitty Pryde book, because it doesn't even feel like they're doing anything with Kitty Pryde. So I'm like, it's fine. I do want to read this. Gary Peters says, glad to be part of my first live video here, and also adds great topics thank you. Great topic, as I'm relatively new to buying new releases every week. So thank you for joining us on that regard.
Absolutely. Do you guys, if you feel like you're buying too many comics in a particular week, is there like you said, Brant, what do you decide what to cut? Like you said, you had 30 something books. So how did you decide to make that cut, not to buy that book or those books in the list this week?
Yeah. So again, with like TMNT, it's like I'm behind on that story. So it's like, okay, that was kind of an easy decision. Those I can wait on, pick them up later, right? Then I go like, okay, these are the books that I have to get. I got to get Dark Web. I got to get stuff like that, do a power bomb. And then it's kind of a process of elimination. It's like, okay, this is what I can get. This is what I have to get. Then this pile is like, I want these, but are there some that I can wait on? Is it a new series? Is it a series that I'm just kind of enjoying or not, totally invested in yet? Maybe I can wait on that. Maybe I can try it later, that kind of thing. So it's more of a process of elimination in those cases.
Gotcha. Now, remember, I mean, if for folks out there that never created a pull box at a shop before, the great thing about having a pull box is if you can't buy all your comics for one particular week, remember, you can put those books back in your pull box and then save them for the following week if it's a lighter week. Just remember,
let your store know.
yeah, just remember, tell your store saying, hey, I'm going to put these back, but I'm still going to buy them next week. I promise. Don't let your pull box though fill up, because then they'll get mad and they'll be like, are you going to buy your books? But if it's like one or two books that you can't buy that particular week, then you put them in there and you buy them the following week. As long as you keep rotating that box through, they'll be okay.
I do want to read the super chat. The name changes, $15. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Thank you.
So wonderful. Thank you. Hope tomorrow's new comics are awesome. Going to get Gargoyles and Extreme X-Men. We are going to talk about at least Extreme X-Men with our most anticipated.
Yeah.
But Gargoyles, I'm actually not getting. I've been so I didn't love the Young Justice current stuff. And I know Greg Weisman's writing it. And obviously I think Greg Weisman's a great writer, but I was like, oh man, I haven't been loving his return type series. So I want to hear how Gargoyles is before I pick it up. I know it's such a big book, but also I like Gargoyles. I think it's a good book, but I don't love Gargoyles. It's not oh my God, need to see what happens next in Gargoyles.
Such a good show.
Gargoyles,
it was good, but I don't know if I need more. It ended
Gargoyles
fine.
for me I felt like I was too old for it, when it came out.
Yeah, I was super young when it came out.
And I don't know, for some reason, I've seen a few episodes, but I was I don't know if I really was just overlooked it. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where it's oh, it's Gargoyles. I'm like, okay.
I was so invested in it because, like Batman the Animated Series, it was one of those that you could watch as a kid and enjoy it, and you could watch a little bit older and appreciate more serious stories taking place in it. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really
I might. I don't think I actually put it on my pull list, or on the FOC, but I might buy it anyway. I'm sure they'll have all the variants and everything. So
yeah,
I might just check it out. It'll be another book to add to my list to read for them.
Maybe for the show, I'll read it. That way we can all talk about it.
We'll
see. I'll pick it up tomorrow. Tevye asks, what about the main Superman title? Going back to dropping books. We've all dropped the main Superman title.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue, right?
Yeah.
Because
it was such a long time I didn't read it. I didn't really get it.
Same. Yeah.
I did not read a lot of Superman at all, period.
Right.
In my years of reading comics, because I've always been the Marvel person. So Superman was secondary. Red Doomsday, obviously, but that was really about it. And then I didn't really pick up Superman comics until the New 52. Then they kind of
Same.
sucked, right?
Yeah.
And then when Peter J. Tomasi came on, that's when I started enjoying the Superman books. And then he went away, and then ever since then, it's been down the toilet. I dropped it, haven't really read it at all. I tried reading the Son of Kal-El
We
series.
try reading so many Superman books in these
I try
last
all the
couple of
time,
months.
and I'm going to try again when Action and this new book comes out as well with all the super people in it. But we'll see. Like, I want to like the character, but I just don't feel like there's ever great stories, you know? So I have no hesitant about dropping that from my pull list at all.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with me. I did pretty much exactly. I read Death of Superman, Reign of Superman, but then after that, I was just until the New 52. He just wasn't one of my favorite,
I don't think
characters
there was
that
a
I
big
sought
run
out.
with him either. There wasn't like, oh
Yeah,
my God, this is the Superman run you have to read.
right, exactly. So yeah, that one's an
Batman, on
easy
the other
drop for
hand,
me. Yeah, Batman's
Batman,
different.
Batman's kind of the Spider-Man for me, but if I had to, obviously pick one out of the two, I'm obviously going to pick Spider-Man, but I don't think I'll ever drop Batman. I'll drop like Batman related titles, but the main Batman title, I don't think I drop that.
Exactly. Yep. It's
Because like Detective
now,
Comics is a great example of that. We all drop Detective,
Yeah.
that's fine. But yeah, Batman for sure.
I mean, I feel like I give indie stories a little bit more leeway too, because sometimes the stories take more time to develop.
And you're supporting the creator directly.
Well,
like if you're buying a Marvel or DC book,
yeah,
they get a flat fee. If you're doing an indie book, you really are supporting a creator and that story. So it feels a little nice to give him a couple issues.
yeah, and it's original story, so it's like it needs some time to, tell that story. When you've seen a Hulk book and you've read Hulk 1,000 times, if that story doesn't capture you right from the beginning, which it should, why read it? I don't need little kids standing around crying and Hulk sitting there meditating in some world, some freaking planet. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's just, we need better comics when it comes to the main characters. And I feel like a lot of the issues are, I feel like that these characters have been overwritten, and that's why some of the books suffer the way that they do.
And it goes back to they've been overridden, and anytime they get relaunched, it's the same exact story we've seen with them. Again, we keep going back to like, why is Immortal Hulk so popular? Why is Venom so popular? Why is Punisher so good right now? It's because they did a little thing to reinvent these characters, and I think that goes a long way.
It's tough. It's tough though. It's like it's such a fine line though, because a lot of people say they want something different, and then when they do something different, people get all upset.
Punisher is a
what
great
is it that you
example of
want?
that.
Do you want the same or do you want different? Like, and that's, I think, where creators are struggling, because they're trying to do something different, but they get all the pushback from all the readers out there,
And why indies are doing so well right now is because they're like, all right, whatever, I'll do my own thing then, and people are picking it up.
Stories,
so why not?
Right?
No.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, like Vanish, like, I love Vanish. I love that story. And Kat and I talked about Specs. Like, that was, that first issue was really good.
Great.
Yeah.
Or the what's it called? The Ride, the
Dark Ride.
Dark Ride,
yeah.
Like that.
I mean, Do a Power Bomb, I think, is
Yeah.
all of our favorite books of the year. And like, how many times do we talk about that book?
And we're not, like, me and Kat are not wrestling fans.
No.
Grant is, but I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure you don't read the book because of the wrestling. You read it because it's a very well written book. You know?
Exactly.
So, and I tend to give, I feel like stories that are 6 issues or 5 issues, I'll tend to give them the benefit of the doubt, because it's like, can I read 5 issues of a story? Yeah, absolutely. I can read 5 issues of a story, but when they say it's an ongoing, I'll drop that book. But again, Planet Hulk was really the exception. Like, I don't do that too often. where it's one issue and I'm like, God, this got
Yeah.
awful. I'm done. I'm never reading it again. You know,
But kind of like what you said earlier, if it's characters that we've read over and over again, one issue sometimes is all you need to know if you're going to enjoy where that story's headed.
right.
And, one or two. And it's like
and
the
when you
current
read
run is,
comics a lot.
yeah. Go ahead, Kat. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say when you read comics a lot, you just kind of know your taste.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the current Hulk book. It took me 2 issues to figure out I don't like this story, so I'm not going to read it anymore.
For sure.
Here we
do
got
have
Yeah.
Oh, I got
Go
it.
for it.
Yep. Comic Toby 420 says, "Is there a top 3 cover of the year finalist yet?" I know for our picks of the year, right, Kat? We have
we can
our
put
favorite
that link in.
covers on there. And then on my top 10 comic book covers of the year, which I'm actually getting ready to finish up here in the next few weeks, I will actually have the nominees, which will be 6 or 7 of them, will be the top covers of the year based off of what everybody voted on. So, and you'll get to have that final vote on which comic book cover wins. So stay tuned for that, Toby. It will be probably about 3 weeks from now, right towards the end of the year. So hopefully you'll get to vote, and maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get your favorite cover picked. So it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for the question in the super chat. Appreciate it.
All right. So what does it say? Remember when Marvel Knights did The Punisher? Fans hated it. But I got to give props for Marvel and the creators to trying to do something different with the legacy characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And again, that's what's crazy about this hobby, though. Like, some people love what a creator does, and then some people dislike what a creator does. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There is nothing wrong with that. Just be respectful, I feel. If you want to drop something, you drop something, but just be respectful, because remember, people, this is their profession, right? That's like telling my best friends up here, right? Because they write comics for a living. Their whole life is comics. And I would tell Kat, your book is a piece of shit, And
I'll be like, oh shit, really?
Yeah. And she probably wouldn't take me seriously, but it's just like, think of how she would feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just now her books are actually really good. She's very talented at what she does. And same with Brand, they work very hard at what they do. And I'm around them all the time. I'm not physically around them, but, always chatting with them. And I constantly hear what they have to go through to make these books work. And, they're not backed by Marvel or DC or anybody like that. They got to go through blood, sweat, and tears to get that work done. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, when you trash these creators on how, on their books, I just feel it's not respectful. You have an opinion, which is fine, but just be respectful to people.
And what's interesting is like you said, Mike, it's like you could say it in front of like someone's face, be like, oh yeah, you suck. And most people won't do that either. But a lot of times people will go on Twitter or even like, again, YouTube comments or something like that. And people are like, this is trash. This sucks. I think there's a critical way of saying like the Planet Hulk thing where like, we wish we were critical about it. We gave thoughts about why we disliked it. And we were like, this is trash. And no one's going to like this. It's just like, oh, it wasn't for us. It wasn't what we expected. I think there's a way to word when you dislike something.
But
and
we
then
never
also like
the creator either.
Oh yeah. Never insult a person. And then also like never insult someone who does like it. Cause I definitely see comments and it's like, oh, like who can like this trash? Like, oh, does anyone like this? It's like, there is someone out there liking it because there is another issue of it. There are people buying it, and maybe that's their favorite comic of all time. And maybe that's what got them into comics. And that's awesome because that means more people are supporting this, this crazy thing we do.
Yeah, exactly.
I like hearing Indie Keys comics here. He says, I still highly recommend reading Walking Dead Deluxe. You know what? I think this is a great thing that Robin Kirkman did, was re-releasing The Walking Dead so
make some
soon.
Money.
Because it's just like a lot of people never read the series before.
Yeah.
and
color too. So that's
yeah,
Right.
and it gives an
different.
opportunity for them to read it. So it's kind of like double dipping, but it's like it's almost coming out with like 2 generations worth of readers here. So
Yeah, and it's in a format that never existed before this. So yeah.
absolutely. All right. So that's, kind of our thoughts on a little bit on how we, drop our comic books. I think it just depends on how much money we're spending, the different type of creators or, stories. It's kind of goes across the board of what you preference. But the one thing I feel like I can say is don't just buy the comic to buy it. If you don't enjoy
Or
it,
hate on it.
right.
Yeah.
If you feel that it's a chore, right, to read it, don't buy it anymore. I
Yeah.
feel like that is the perfect way to determine I'm going to drop a comic book, right? If you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I can't wait to get to the end of this book. And you're like, there's 25 issues of, whatever this book that you're reading that you've read and you haven't liked it for the past 6 issues. That's your time to jump off of it.
Yeah, and it's so hard because collectors, almost by definition, are completists. And
Yeah.
they like to finish, once they start collecting something. But yeah, with comics, you gotta kind of make that determination, like you're saying. Just if you're not enjoying it, don't waste your money and your time. Just it's time to
I
drop
feel
it.
like I
and move
learned
on.
that a long time ago, which is why my pull list is a lot shorter than it used to be.
Yeah,
Like I'm so happy with I'm happy when I read my pull list and unless it's like a new book and I just don't know what it's about. Like I normally don't dislike my books because I'm very much catering my pull list to things I really only like. Sure, there's maybe an event here and there where I'm like, oh, I kind of just want to see where this goes. But other than that, like everything on my pull list is something I enjoy.
I just enjoy reading. I enjoy reading my books. My biggest problem is the time trying to finish
Oh,
reading.
yeah.
And then I gotta
Yeah.
cramp everything in. So it's not that I dislike reading any of my books for the most part. It's just like, oh my God, I gotta hurry up and finish reading them. But when I get the time to read and digest it the way I want to, man, I love it. I get into so many of the different types of books. But then I hate when I dislike a book. I'm just like, oh man, like really? That's so disappointing, especially when you're anticipating a book.
There's
sure.
times when it's like in our top 3 most anticipated. I'm like, oh damn, that's the one I disliked. Or
Yeah.
or you just didn't like it as much as you expected. I mean, it's like more of
Exactly.
like number 5 instead of book of the year.
Yeah.
Yep. Indie Key Comics does make it. Yeah, I feel like 2022 was not a good year for indies. Like 2020 and 2021. That's an interesting comment because I feel like this year was a really good year for indie comics.
Yeah,
There
I
was
thought
a
it was one
lot
of the best
indies.
years.
There's a lot of indies that I read this year.
I think 2020 and 2021 probably stand out because, like the bigger companies stopped putting comics out.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
Yeah.
there was a lot more focus on the smaller comics at that time. But I think a lot of great comics came out this year that weren't.
And I
Marvel
think what's cool about 2022 and every year passing, there's different avenues to read indie books because I think a lot of people, I mean, even with us, like Wednesday Warriors, we're always focusing on the direct market, and like that's the only thing we're like that's what we talk about. But there's other places you can buy books. Kickstarter obviously is one, and a lot of times they'll go to the direct market. You read webtoon books, there's web comics. And in that regard, I think indies have been doing great. I mean, again, you look at Substack, you look at Zest World, you look at Webtoon, you look at Kickstarter. I love the idea that there's so many places you can read independent comics.
Yeah.
Which is why I think this has been probably the best year. And also where indie creators can actually be making money now. I think and I hate using this word, but I think there's less gatekeeping in that regard because literally I think creators are able to make their own path. I think 5 years ago, you needed to have an editor on this book. You had someone to look at this thing to make a big project or a lot of money on something. And now you could do it all yourself and make a big property. So I think that's changed. I think that makes this year and hopefully every passing year better for indie comics. I don't think there's been a time where indie comics has been so big besides maybe the birth of Image, but it was big in a different way.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I did get this question. I saw it says, Mike, what indie comic books are you currently reading? It's so hard to remember what I'm actually
I'm
reading.
gonna
Life
post the
Zero
best
is one
of
that you're
because
reading.
I know Something is Killing the Children, Do a Power Bomb, Grimm, 8 Billion Genies.
Life Zero is one that you really like.
Yeah, Life Zero was another one that I really enjoyed. There's a lot. There is a lot. There was this one called like Mission to Mars or something like that, or that was released from Vault, which was really good. I- Dude, there was the what was the dog story? That
Stray
was
Dogs.
Stray Dogs was another one that was really good.
Yeah.
Just there's a lot. There is a lot of stuff out there. Gunslinger Spawn is like one of my favorites when it comes to the Spawn books. There's so much out there. I can't even remember, but there's a ton of books out there. Noctera was another one that was really good. So much stuff, man. Rogues Gallery, which is another one that was good. A lot of great independent stories. They are page turners. Like they take it to the next level for me. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is, because these stories have been so well written. So that's just some of them that I've read this year.
Serenity asked about Briar. I think, haven't we all read Briar?
I read the first issue. I didn't love
I read
it.
the first issue. I read the second issue.
I did
I
too.
wasn't as interested after I got done with the second issue.
I agree. Yeah. So
Art was good though.
yeah, the art's really good, and
Yeah.
it's not a bad story. It's just I don't think it's going to hold my attention. Is the problem?
Right. Yeah. It's not necessarily so much my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, all right. So I'm going to get a drink. You guys want to kick off that news?
Sure. Let me see what we're doing first. I think we're going to do comic news. So let's start with DC's Free Comic Book Day books have been announced because it's December and we're looking at May. But the books are Dawn of DC. It looks like they're going to preview those books that they announced, which I think is really cool. Then you have the YA stuff. So Girl Taking Over, a Lois Lane story. And then you have Clark and Lex Fan Club, Batman's Squad. I don't know which one that's about. Me. It's probably a reprint. Oh, no, it's also a YA book. They've definitely been focusing on their YA because those graphic novels make money.
Yeah, the only one of those the only one of those I care about is the Dawn of DC.
Yeah, right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Those are all the Free Comic Book Day books?
Yeah, for DC.
From
but
DC,
honestly, they've been doing that lately.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. But again, they're focusing on the kids, which makes sense. They're the ones that are going to go get books. And hopefully, if they like them, they'll go to the comic book store and be like, I want to get this graphic novel about Lois Lane.
I mean, looking through this list, it looks like a lot of them are focusing on the kids, which is fine. You do get a lot of kids on Free Comic Book Day, probably more than usual. The Ranger Academy book's coming out then too.
I'm excited about that one. I'm definitely excited about that. And yeah, Dawn of DC. I mean, the thing is with Free Comic Book Day books, I don't remember last time I really liked them. It's always a cool experience. I love going to the store and talking to people. And a lot of times I'll do a signing because it's a good opportunity to do signings during Free Comic Book Day. So I like doing that. I like making a video for it, but I don't know. I just feel like it's either it's not as good as it used to be, the comics are trying to release, or like we've just gotten over it.
Well, the one that stands out in my mind is the Blackest Night Free Comic Book Day book that kicked off that whole thing. That got me so excited.
And that was how long ago?
I know, it was a long time ago. I'm just saying that's what I would love to see more of.
I like Free Comic Book Day because of the sales and the other stuff that they have.
Yeah.
Like the shop will really go out of its way to put out stuff that they don't normally have, or, and that's what I like. So it's like for my shop, in order to get all those books, like you have to spend $10. $10 is nothing.
Right? I didn't even know that. They don't just give it free.
No, you can get 2 free comics, right? And then to get like all of them, basically, you gotta spend like $10.
Oh damn.
So that's what it is there. And like
think
I said, $10 is nothing.
No.
It's basically
Yeah.
you're supporting the shop. That's basically
Yeah.
what it is, you know. And like I said, there's so much stuff that they have that they don't normally have. It's worth it to go check it out. And usually all the stuff they have is like on sale or whatever it is. So it's worth it for me. But then I always wind up getting all those free books anyway, you know.
My store is like, Kat, you shop here every week, and you're usually the first one here. Take whatever books you want.
That's cool.
My shop
and
doesn't.
also,
My shop is
Mhm.
pretty good with me too. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, they
that's
take
what
the
they
loyal
normally
customers
do.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because like when it comes to back issues and like trades and stuff like that, I just don't tend to get that many trades. I'll get like if I'm at a Comic Con, and I'll support. I mean, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but I'll support the company directly because I'm there and I'm like, oh, cool, like I'm here. Why not buy like Paper Girls in trade? I'll get books I've already read, but again, we've been doing this thing for a long time. We know from each other which books are good. It's hard to find, be like, oh, I didn't read this one. We read a lot of books. I don't get as many back issues as I used to back in the heyday.
Yeah.
I love getting old school books. I do. Just to collect them, just to fill in some runs and stuff like that. Like if I can ever, whenever I go to this shop and I find like old Spider-Man issues, I love buying them. Like I love old school comics. Like I really miss the way comics used to be when I was a kid growing up. You know, they're just a different monster. You know what I'm saying? The comics today are just a lot different. And not that I don't enjoy them. I enjoy them, right? But there's just something, it's like, you know, when you were a kid and, you know, you were watching like Transformers on TV, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, there's those certain things that remember that made you feel like a kid. And those particular comics, you know, are, you
Sure.
know, so
Yeah.
that's why I love back issues, man.
I just
All
don't
right,
have the
well, let's-
patience to go looking through them. That's my problem.
No, same.
I understand that. That's what I like about my store because their back issue bins are very like there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it's not overwhelming. And then anything that is, I guess, worthy of the eye, they keep behind the counter so you can see. So I tend to just mostly check out what's behind the counter. And if it's not
Yeah.
anything there, then I don't typically buy it unless,
Gotcha.
you know, it's Spider-Man. You know, I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, let's go through the Spider-Man back issues. And there'll be a couple that pop in there, you know.
Right.
But,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
Viper asks, what's our top 5 indies? Well, I'm glad you asked. We've been doing our best comics of the year. We have a whole section where we all talk about our 5 favorite indies of the year. So definitely go check it out, and you get to vote to see, you know, which one's your favorite. Well, let's get into more news. We got Avengers fights Mephisto. More Avengers stuff.
Well, I mean, it's the same
Is he
stuff that we
fighting
just
right
talked
now?
about. And the funny thing is, if we had just read this article, it says it rolls into April. So there we go.
There you go. Now we know it's going until April, and we'll probably find out who the new creative team is from May. Did you guys have any more thoughts on this? We kind of talked about the.
I only
stuff.
checked it off so Brant could talk about it.
Okay, yeah. Well, we talked about it with that book. So,
Yeah. Because just wanted to make sure you wanted to get your point across with that
Sure.
one there. I'm just curious to see what this whole thing was about.
Right.
So next up, we got Lazarus Planet gets a sequel event. The reason I checked this off is I think it's hysterical that this book has not come out, and they're like, "We already got a sequel lined up."
Why? Why do you need a sequel? That's so stupid.
Who
like you
knows
don't
if
even know if
issue
the
one's
first one's gonna
good?
be good yet.
Right.
Maybe the sales are doing well. Maybe the the FOC did really well. And they're like, oh, we gotta get another. But I mean, I don't know how well it did. That they're like, we need a sequel.
So this one, the sequel, comes out in March, correct? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
how big is the original Lazarus Planet? How many issues is that?
I don't even know.
There's a checklist on here. It's 4 months long, and there's the alpha book, and then it goes into like a bunch of other one shots and monkey prints for some reason.
Why not?
And then Wonder Woman after that, but it's mostly like one shots. Like
so, it's 4 months. The first one is like 4 months, and then they're gonna come out with a second one.
I guess I don't know.
Weird.
It's
That's
like,
weird, honestly.
there's Alpha, there's Assault on Krypton, there's We Once Were Gods, there's Legends. These are all number one issue. There's one shots. Next Evolution, Dark Fate, Omega, and then right after Omega is this one, the sequel, Revenge of the Gods. So don't ask me.
I'm good.
That's weird. Yeah.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen an event get a sequel before the event came out. Literally, I've never seen that before. And again, we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. It's like a Netflix show now. It's like
Right.
this pilot tested well, so season 2 is confirmed.
Dude,
It's like, let's do it. Oh,
and
man.
what makes them think that they're going to sell as many anyway? Like, what if, right? Yeah, maybe your pre-sales might be okay, but what if people read the event and then they don't like it, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just like, now you have plans to release a sequel, and then if they don't like the first one, they're not going to buy the second one.
Yeah. It's like when remember when Future Foundation came out and they canceled the book before it came out. It's like it's kind of like that, but in reverse.
Right.
And I actually like that book too. I am a Jeremy Whitley fan and obviously a Julie Power fan. You didn't like it?
I didn't like Future Foundation. Yeah.
And that is, but honestly, the book got better as it went along. I remember the first issue, I was like a little disappointed. And then as it went on, I was like, oh, I like this book. And again, maybe because I'm a Julie Power fan, but
yeah.
I mean, maybe don't press the gun on canceling and then also getting a sequel all in the same breath. But let's get into some media news. So first, we got DC and Amazon working on a big deal for animated projects on Amazon. I mean, Amazon's doing great with superhero stuff, so I'm not surprised by that. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, it's good, but just looking at what the actual shows are talking about, it's like I'm not interested in any of this. But
what are the shows? Talk about the shows.
Well, I mean, aside from Harley Quinn, which Bat Wheels, DC Superhero High, and Teen Titans Go. So like all.
Okay, so more kitty. I mean, who doesn't like a good Bat Wheel?
Yeah, right.
I mean, the only thing I could say about this though is if you have more stuff on one particular streaming service, I feel like more people would be inclined to watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue just with streaming in general now. I just remember like we were talking about this years ago about when streaming first came out, and the only thing was really Netflix. And then they started coming out with a few other things and a few other things and a few other things. And now it's just like, I just feel like there's so much out there that people have to pick and choose, and your stuff is not, oh, here's our bots. They're
waiting for us.
Jesus God, man.
Tevye asks what this means for the new Batman show. I'm guessing it means they'll go to Amazon Prime.
I mean,
yeah,
it tells you how bad HBO Max is doing.
Right. But more people might be inclined because a lot of people probably have Amazon memberships than an HBO Max membership, because most people get stuff delivered to the house, right? So if you're Amazon
and it's the same price, it's not more. If you have Amazon Prime, you have the video stuff.
Exactly. So it just makes sense. I think it's a good move. I really do. I don't know, how much money they would get for their stuff being on Amazon, but still, if they want their stuff watched, then, maybe it makes sense to put it there.
Yeah, I agree. Now we just got a lot of trailers to talk about. So now, Brant, you wanted to discuss this Transformers trailer, so I'm passing the baton on this one.
Yeah,
I'm going to agree with Brant here. This trailer was probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen when it comes to Transformers.
So Beast Wars like reinvented Transformers, right?
Yeah.
And they did something completely different with the franchise, and it was so popular. And like I bought like my little brother so many of those toys. Like I still have them, like a big bucket of Beast Wars. But doing a movie version of this, it's like, yes, it's Bayformers and all that stuff, and I know all this stuff, but this looks so amazing. I mean, you had all the Beast War characters, you had upgraded versions of the other characters, them interacting with each other. The story made sense. You got a new lead character in this one too. So as far as human characters go, I just thought it looked really solid. And this was just a teaser trailer, so I can't wait till they show us a full trailer.
Yeah, what do you have? What's his name? Optimus Primal? Is that
Optimus Primal? Yeah, and
was
Cheetor.
In there. You had Cheetor. He was in there. You saw Rhino. The Rhinor is it?
I can't remember his name. Rhinox, maybe?
Rhinox. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah. So you got to see all those characters, and you know who we did not see? We didn't see Megatron in there. Right. We didn't see him as the T-Rex, which I would love to see that, like what he would look like. But nothing for nothing. I loved all the Beast Wars stuff, but the best thing for me was Mirage.
Yeah.
Right?
That was so cool. I was like, as soon as he got in that car, I was like, oh, it's Mirage.
Yes.
Did the effects. Oh, it was so good.
And then he sat there and made himself all these in Mirages, and it just with the different car. And when he transformed and everything, I was just like, man, that is so good. And RC was in there.
Yeah. Oh, RC looked great. Oh, is it not Michael Bay, this one? Somebody's saying
no. I guess he didn't do like Bumblebee and stuff like that. I don't remember who did the last one. Did he do the last? I don't know.
I like the last one though, the one with Mark Wahlberg.
Do you know? What was the last one with Soundwave and Bumblebee? What was that one called?
I'm checking it now.
I can't remember the name. Of
Age of Extinction.
Maybe I don't.
Is that the last? That was 2014. I don't know. I'm looking up.
I don't remember. It has been a while, but.
The Mark Wahlberg one was 2014, and it was a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, but then they came out.
They did the Bumblebee one.
The Bumblebee one, Bumblebee movie was after that.
Yeah, that's the one with Haley Steinfeld and.
Is it in the same
John Cena
universe? Wasn't it like a different?
No, it's all the same universe, same Bumblebee. He was just.
The movie made $1 billion in the box office.
It was a really good movie. Yeah.
And I still haven't seen the Bumblebee one. I have it actually on Blu-ray, and I still haven't watched it. I wanted to watch it because I heard that's like
That's the best one.
Transformer accurate movie there is.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed that one quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Tavia says Bumblebee was a reboot.
I mean, it was still Bumblebee, and he still couldn't talk. I mean, it felt like the same character to me. It was just different interactions and stuff. But no, I think this one looks really good. Hopefully, it just continues to look better and better as we see more of it.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it too, man.
Me too.
It looked great. I was pumped when I saw that. Yeah. I couldn't believe how much I actually really liked it. You know,
yeah, that's why I was like, "Oh, we got to talk about this."
There's always. I didn't even know it came out, so I'm glad you put it there because wasn't on my radar.
There's always a special place in my heart for Transformers. Sure. Just going back to the cartoon when I was a kid. I remember watching that first episode when I was a kid, and I was just like, wow, this is great. Everything about Transformers back then. And I haven't been a huge fan of the Michael Bay movies because I just don't feel like they're quite boring. The same, you know. But I'll be excited for this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the next trailer. This one's a newer one, but The Last of Us trailer came out. I did not see the trailer.
There was more humor in it than I expected. There wasn't a lot of humor. It was just a little bit, but I don't remember there being humor in the video game.
So that's what I'm saying. This is based off of a video game?
Yeah. It's actually a video game.
It's a very popular one.
Yeah, Chris got me to watch like a walkthrough, like a complete walkthrough years ago. Of course he did. Yeah. But I never actually got to play it, but it was really fun to watch it. And there were cutscenes were really well done. It looked like, if you look at the original video game, it looked like it was modeled after that Joe Manganiello actor and Ellen Page at the time. Elliot Page now. But yeah, I thought it looked solid. I think the guy that plays the Mandalorian is the main star of it.
But see, my only problem is every time I hear his voice, that's all I know him for.
I know.
Now. Like I can't get his voice out of my head that he's the Mandalorian, you know?
Yeah. You'll just be watching this and be like, when's he gonna say this is the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is he gonna put on his helmet?
Right.
Oh, that's funny.
We'll see how the show. What network is it on or streaming? I'm guessing HBO Max. Maybe. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I think so.
Yeah, it's
That
HBO.
would make, yeah.
Or
So
at
we'll
least
see.
it might be regular HBO, but I'm sure it'll be on Max. So see if people are talking about it. All right, next trailer is, and there's just a lot of trailers this week for some reason. I guess because the December movies are coming out, and they want to have like these big time trailers because a lot of people go to the movies before Christmas because they release a lot of these big movies. But Indiana Jones trailer, I've only seen one Indiana Jones movie completely, and it was the bad one. It was the Shia LaBeouf one.
I actually like that one, but I don't like the original. So I'm
Really?
weird.
It's been
Yeah.
such a long time since I've watched any Indiana Jones movie. I remember.
You need to watch him to understand this, though. You kind of get the gist of what he does.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid. I think I saw the first one in the movie theater when I was like
Really?
real young, and I remember like the end of it was really wasn't creepy. Like it scared the shit out of me, because it's like all these ghosts and shit flying around, and I don't know, but I couldn't tell. Temple of Doom I may have seen in the movie theater, but I don't think I've seen it since the movie theater, and that was forever ago. Like I feel like I like Indiana Jones, but maybe not really. I don't know.
I like the idea of Indiana Jones, but in practice, like those classic movies, I think when I was a kid, I didn't see any of them in the movies in the theater. I saw like part of one on Betamax at my aunt's house one time, and tell you how long ago that was. But like I tried to go back and watch, I think, Raiders of the Lost Ark a few years ago, and it was so boring to me. I couldn't get through it. I couldn't finish it. Which is probably why I liked Kingdom of is it Crystal Skull, or I can't remember whatever the Shia LaBeouf one.
Yeah.
I like Shia LaBeouf though, and I liked the movie just because it was more action, more movement throughout it. But this one felt more like the old school ones, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like this one or not. So we'll see.
Also, Harrison Ford's like, he's doing a lot of movies for being as old as he is.
Tell me about it, man. You would think he would stop, and he just keeps going. And it's not like it's just like these are heavy duty films, Now he's going to be Thunderbolt Ross too. Like, hey, man,
no more Star Wars.
He's 80 though. I thought he was getting towards the 90s. So I guess.
Well, Cat, he's not that old. Jeez,
not that old.
90s.
It's been a while since we've seen him. We haven't seen him since Force Awakens, and that was honestly years now. When did Force Awakens come out?
That was the first of these.
Yeah, that came out in 2015. That's like the last time I really remember like seeing him in anything, and that was almost 8 years ago.
Yeah,
and that's crazy.
Yeah,
he died in that. And that's the last time. What other movie have we seen him in since?
He appeared in the last Star Wars movie though.
Did he?
Did he?
Yeah, he
as
did.
like a
second,
ghost or something like that.
Part of the Force or whatever. I don't.
Yeah, that was it was the second one, I think. Not
was it the second one?
Maybe?
No, it's when you had to make a decision to be good or whatever.
Oh, you're right, but that can't count. He was on set.
That counts. He was in it.
He was on set for a moment.
No, it doesn't matter. He's still in it. He was still in it. There's probably something that he did that we just did not realize that he's in.
Well, let's go look up his IMDb.
I'm ready.
Why not?
I feel like he's just like hitting more than a midlife crisis. He's like, I need to do more. I need to do Indiana Jones. I need to be the Red Hulk.
2020, he was in Call of the Wild, and he was in
that movie that did very badly.
And Secret Life of Pets 2, he did voice acting. So
see, at least
everyone's
he could be
saying
sitting in his pajamas with that.
Blade Runner 2049. He was in that. I watched that.
That was a while ago.
It was 2019. It wasn't that long.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah.
Time is not great.
It was pre-pandemic.
Time is not going as
fast.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Maybe life is slow. But let's get into the last trailer, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which I really liked. Obviously I have some good music. I was surprised by the emotions of it. I liked that they were in that like suburban type area, even though it's still space. But I'm like, oh, they're kind of doing something a little different. And I like that it's the end. With these Marvel movies, a lot of times we're like, oh, this is Thor's last movie, maybe. It's like, oh, Iron Man's dead, but he could come back, maybe. Like I kind of like that. You could definitely feel like, no, this is gonna be the end for Guardians of the Galaxy because James Gunn is taking over DC Comics films, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's a good trailer. I liked it. I like seeing the High Evolutionary. That was kind of cool. Yeah, you're right, Kat. Though there is a lot of motion. Peter's going through somebody dies or something happens in it. Rocket's going through some kind of stuff as well. I still have to watch the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. I haven't watched that yet.
It was fun.
I watch it too.
Yeah, I heard it like ties into the future movie or somehow or whatever. But I liked it. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think I like Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie. I enjoyed the second movie. I want to say it was as good as the first one, but I love those characters and I love their interactions with each other. I love the humor of them. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this last volume and looking forward to seeing Adam Warlock on that.
Yeah, I got excited when I saw Adam Warlock too. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, the Christmas special or the holiday special was fun. It was a lot of fun, a lot of moments with Drax and Mantis, which was fun because you didn't see a lot of focus on those characters. And yeah, it's Lisa watched it before I did, and she was like, "I hope they don't all die." I was like, "Surely they won't all die. Some of them might,
one survivor."
But yeah, I'll tell you guys something sad about Groot though. Which I didn't know this. I watched the video and I found out that it's not the same Groot. It's his offspring.
Oh,
I thought it was Groot Reborn, and according to James Gunn, it's not. It's his offspring technically.
The Groot that's currently in it now.
Yeah, and that's why he looks completely different because he's a completely different character.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. So now I'm all sad because Groot's dead. It's like, oh no.
So Groot actually did die then.
Yeah.
But he still calls himself Groot.
Yeah. I think they're
all Groot.
They're all Groot. That's funny.
Crazy. Did not know it. But we will watch it when it comes out. I know Ant-Man's coming out soon. February? I think it's February, which is kind of crazy.
February, I think.
Yeah. That's pretty soon. And I guess this is coming out like summer or something. I don't actually remember the date. May? Yeah. Okay, so this is the one right after Ant-Man.
And the only reason why I remember that is because Super Mario Brothers comes out in April. And I remember like May comes Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm looking forward to Super Mario.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll definitely see it.
That looks freaking great.
I think
Mario Kart
Peach
in
looks
it.
cool.
It looks so good. Yeah.
That next trailer was like, whoa, like this looks like it's gonna be a fun movie.
So fun.
He's like training on the levels.
Which
is funny because that's kind of like you when you're playing Mario and it's like you played it for the first time and you would die in like 2 seconds and that's like him,
Yeah.
So
it's like I made the jump.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He's like training to take on Bowser. I think that's pretty cool.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that movie. That's gonna be cool. We got my tickets for the Avatar movie for next week, and I am kind of dreading it. It's 3 hours and 15 minutes.
I am not excited to watch that movie at all.
No. My brother really likes the first one. He loves the first one. And I have the AMC stubs. So again, I'm seeing it for free. So and if you see we really try to see 2 movies a month. That way it's worth to have the AMC stubs. But he loves this movie. And I was like, oh, cool. We'll go see it at some point. He's like, no, I want to see opening night. And I want to be spoiled. I'm like, about what? What are they going to spoil?
Isn't it the point though? Like they were humans and they went into this machine and they became these avatars.
Some of them are.
Right?
Only 2 of them are.
Only 2 of them are human?
Yeah. Because the other ones were like from that place. They were like the Na'vi. And then like the guy in the wheelchair and Sigourney Weaver, they were avatars. Right. And then they like joined.
So are we basically not seeing humans in the show anymore? It's just basically.
We don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's like almost too CGI for me.
I didn't love the first one.
It looks, I think it looks great, but I feel like I don't know, man. I'm just not a fan. I don't think I never really been. It's
James Cameron said he doesn't care about anyone complaining about the
Well,
runtime.
I mean, he's getting his money, so why
You
would
know how
he?
much money he has to make to break even on this movie? I heard, again, I don't know if this is true. One of my friends told me this, so I have not looked this up, but they said they need $2 billion
Oh my
to
God.
break
Wow.
even. And it took how long for this movie to come out? Because you're using
So
new
many
technology
years.
for the water.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what I need to see in this movie. I think it's
Wasn't the
amazing.
first
Like you
one
said,
the highest grossing movie though?
At the time,
at the
yeah.
time, but also at the time, we didn't really even have like Iron Man out. Like it was 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just like also like longer movies weren't as prevalent as they are now. Now it's hard to really find a 90-minute movie. Like I just saw the menu last night. What is today? Saw it last night. And loved it. I thought it was a fantastic movie because it was 90 minutes long. I'm like, whoa, have not seen a 90-minute movie in such a long time. And then next week, I'm going to go see Avatar for 3 hours and 15 minutes. Do I get an intermission? Can I go to the bathroom? Like, come on.
Right. I thought
I'll say.
Wakanda Forever was I wound up seeing it and it was a long
loved
movie,
it.
but
It's long.
I liked it though. I really liked Wakanda
Well,
Forever. I did.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did
Finish
you see it, Brant?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I loved it, but I love the first I like Black Panther, and again, sorry MCU fans, but I like Black Panther because it doesn't feel like an MCU movie. It feels like its own thing.
But this
I
it
really
was a nice standalone movie.
Yeah, and that's why I like
and
it.
I love the representation and the
Mhm.
tribute to Chadwick Boseman in the movie.
Yeah.
I felt like it had a lot of heart and there was a lot of emotion. And that's what I really enjoyed out of it. The thing that I disliked the most was Riri Williams because I just felt like she wasn't needed in the movie.
I
right?
liked Riri. I enjoyed her for some reason.
I like the character, but she wasn't needed for what they were trying to accomplish. She was just used to introduce her to the MCU. That's basically all she was there for.
I liked her more than the other introductions we got, especially like America Chavez. So I was looking forward to her.
I agree with you there, though.
I hated her in that movie.
America Chavez was a horrible character, but Riri, I love Riri Williams as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love her personality and everything. It just felt like she really wasn't needed in this movie, but I get why they put her in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, she also has the show coming up, which I'm interested to see what that ends up doing.
Right. But I love the overall movie, and hopefully, Brent, you'll get to see it soon.
Yeah.
It's got some pretty powerful moments in there.
Yeah, it was really good. It was just a good movie. I really enjoyed that one.
Going back to Avatar for a second, it actually is still the #1 highest grossing film of all time at $2.9 billion.
You know why? Because they re-released it.
Yes.
Because James Cameron was crying. Well, first of all, they re-released it twice now. They re-released it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and so the top 5 are all over $2 billion. And
so who else is in the top 5?
2 of those are Avengers movies, Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah, figured those two. Yeah,
2 and 5, and Titanic #3, of course, and Star Wars: Force Awakens is #4.
That makes sense.
But I feel like there's not as much buzz for this one as like Star Wars and Avengers. Great example of this is that, again, got the stubs. So when a Marvel movie comes out, even like the ones that aren't as popular, like Doctor Strange or whatever, you have to get that ticket when it's announced that you have to get those tickets. Like I think it's usually a couple of weeks in advance. I kind of forgot Avatar was coming out. I was like, oh shit, it comes out in a week. Let me check out the seats. There's still seats available for opening night. So I'm like, okay, it's not gonna be Marvel. I mean, I think it's gonna be better than like Black Adam. There was a lot of seats available on Thursday, but I don't know if it's gonna be any Marvel level.
Yeah, so. I don't know. I mean, there's some people that swear on that movie, and I don't know why. It's just one movie that was released, and maybe. Who knows? Maybe it was
because it did a lot at the time, like CGI wise. It was a beautiful.
Maybe
movie,
that's why, because of the CGI and the effects that it brought to the screen. But now everybody does that stuff.
Mhm.
Like, there's nothing
Now
that
it's better not to see CGI. It's more interesting to see Top Gun. Okay,
exactly.
Top Gun's a great example of that, where Top Gun did so well because it wasn't so CGI heavy. It was more of like, here's natural action. Here,
Right.
like that's why it did so well. Like, I don't know, man. Well, I'll give you guys a report. I guess not next week, but the week after.
Curious to see how it'll
Comes
do.
out next Thursday. Let me see when it comes out.
I think it's very soon.
Yeah, it might actually be. No, it's next Thursday. So it's not this Thursday. It's next Thursday it comes out. So not next Tuesday. The Tuesday after, I'll give my opinions. Didn't Avatar do 3D amazingly? They do have a 3D one for this one. I never see the 3D. I'm just like, it's never worth it unless it's like really made for 3D. Like Resident Evil was such a bad movie, but that movie was like made for 3D. Like literally, it's like it's only there because of 3D. And I don't think Avatar is that.
I've only seen one movie in 3D, and I don't even remember what it was. It was the first year I moved here to Texas. So back in 2014. Yeah. I agree.
Not worth it at all. All right, well, that's all the news. So let's get into the most anticipated.
Let's do it. Most anticipated. All right. So like we said, there are a lot of books coming out tomorrow, and we've got some interesting ones on our list. Most we've already mentioned on this show. So let's start with Mike this time.
All right.
Me and Mike have a similar list this time around.
So I got Batman, issue 130, the final chapter to the fail-safe story arc.
Oh,
so,
is it?
Yeah, it's the last one. So I'm curious to see like how fail-safe is defeated, if he is even defeated. My prediction, my theory, is Superman's going to be healed from his kryptonite poisoning. He's going to come out. He's going to rescue Batman from space. He's going to take failsafe. He's going to throw that sucker in the sun. That's what he's going to do. That's my prediction right there. We'll see. My next one is Dark Web, issue 1. Obviously, the big Spider-Man event for the year going into next year. Looking forward to it.
And that's the only one that's on all three of ours, by the way.
Gotcha. And I was going to say it's all in different spots, but you guys actually have in the same spot.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, do a Power Bomb, issue 7, the final issue to the series. Can't wait, man. The only thing is I'm sad to see it end because it's been that good.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do next. I think if anything, like that's like, it's sad that it's ending. But I'm like, oh man, like what's his next series going to be?
It's true.
Yeah. All right. And Kat?
Yeah, number 3 is Dark Web because, one thing I like about this event that it does feel like it's been building up. It feels like it's almost necessary. So I like events like that, Spider-Man. So looking forward to that. Do a Power Bomb for all the things mentioned. It's legit the best comic out there right now. So you're not reading it, good time to catch up. And number 1's Radiant Pink. I really love that first issue. And it sounds like it's going to be a similar tone. It's going to be the same writers. So they're coming back. So very excited about this one.
Let's hope it doesn't turn out to be like Radiant Red.
I really hope not. I hope it's as good as that premiere issue was.
Yeah. I think it will be. Now, the reason I didn't put that on there was because I saw you already had it on there, Kat, and being a big week, and there was some big books for me. So like all the ones that you all put on yours that I didn't were contenders for me. But anyway, so I went with Extreme X-Men number 1.
That was close for me. That was a close one.
Nice. Yeah. I love the original series. I was, sad to see it go when it did. So I'm excited that it's back and with the
Kitty
team. Yeah, and Kitty. Yeah. So a lot of good stuff to love for that. Hope it's as good as I built it up in my head. Dark Web for all the reasons you all mentioned, and Gargoyles, which we talked about earlier in the show. So I won't go into that, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I actually got 2 covers.
Nice.
Yeah. So there we go. That's our most anticipated among all the other books that are coming out.
Next week's gonna be a fun week for our show because
30,000 comic books.
Yeah.
I know, so many. Please spread it out better, guys. We need. I hate when I have again like this week. I was struggling to find. It
always
books.
happens.
Like I'll just get this. I guess always happens.
This past week, I actually finished. I read all my books by Thursday. That was the first ever.
if they had just taken like 25% of tomorrow's books and put them last week, we'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah,
Much again, and I think that's why I didn't get gargoyles originally. And again, I'll probably get gargoyles tomorrow when I go to the store. I literally think I had it on my list, but I was like, "There's too many books. I need to drop something."
Sure, I understand that.
All right, so it looks like that's going to wrap it up. So thank you everyone for watching tonight's show. Hopefully you had a fun time with our topic and all the other topics and the comics that we discussed tonight. So be here again next week as we talk about all the thousands of books that we did read, and I'll be curious to see what our top fives are. And hopefully Dark Web won't be a disappointment like Planet Hulk was. So of course, guys, if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe to both channels, Comic Book Corner 2.0 and Comic Book Weekly. And don't forget to hit the notification bell and make sure you hit all notifications so you don't miss when this show actually goes live, so you don't forget it, okay? Or in case you do forget it. And yeah, and make sure you follow us on social media and all that stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, of course, YouTube and all that. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. And we're going to wave, say goodnight.